Hello everyone, thanks for tuning into today's video. I found myself with a free day today, really. We're between updates in terms of the longer range sort of updates. I can't give a CFS 6 months look ahead yet. Autumn forecast will be coming later on in the month, a second update. So, as I say, I've got a bit of a free day, and I thought we'd have a look at the Canadian model today, the CANSIPS model, which is a seasonal model and goes out to an extended range. I've just started using this, so I've not really got any experience of it. I don't know how reliable it is, but I thought we'd have a run through the charts and just have a look and see what it's showing on this Sunday morning. Hope you enjoy the leisurely look at the CANSIPS model. Now, before I get on with that, just to say about the ads, there's links to articles on all the pages at Gazzo.com. Have a browse through the widgets. If there's any articles that you're interested in, please click through. You'll be able to read the article. And thanks very much for doing that, because you're going from Gazzo to where an article is. We get a revenue fee on what you're doing. There's video ads on all the pages. You say open out with the content. When you've watched them, they'll close back up again. And because you do that, just by doing that, it's paying for helping to pay for websites. So, but very short, just a few seconds in length, and don't need to do anything else, don't need to click through or anything like that, just give it a watch, and you'll be able to pay for Gazwebits.com. So thanks so much for getting involved, and thanks for doing that. The website where the CANSIPS model is coming from is the website tropicaltidbits.com. You can find the link to Tropical Tidbits and the CANSIPS model on the links page. And thanks very much to Tropical Tidbits for allowing me to use their website and their charts. And just say have fun, hope you enjoyed the video, and let's get on with it. So we're going to start off with the anomaly for August. This is the mean sea level pressure anomaly for next month, for August 2015. As always, with height anomaly and sea level pressure anomaly charts, the red colours are extrapolating to high pressure, and the blue colours are extrapolating to low pressure. So what we see for August is that the model is seeing a displaced ridge of high pressure from the Azores into the central part of the Atlantic. There's a trough of low pressure to the north of Scotland, but really the jet stream is going off to the north here. We see the jet stream going to the north of the UK like that. And again up here like that. And overall we are within a ridge of high pressure, albeit the high pressure is probably a little bit centred to the west. Nevertheless, we are still under high pressure ridging in from the Atlantic. So that would be a very pleasant summer month. Now look at the temperature and precipitation. Anomalies that go with these mean sea level pressure anomalies in a few months. So this is going to be very similar to the CFS 6 months look ahead that we do every month. But that's a pretty good one to be starting off with, a lot of high pressure influences. Perhaps not all that warm, but as I say, have a look at the temperature anomaly in a moment. Going through to September, we find that mean ridge moving right in across the country. So that looks a very settled looking pattern for September. High pressure, above average heights right in there across the country, moving in through the UK. I've got lower pressure down to the south here, so maybe that could threaten more unsettled conditions at times. The Azores high has weakened a little bit as well out in the middle part of the Atlantic. But that's a very settled looking scenario for September, and as I've explained in other videos, particularly the CFS ones, September tends to be a month where high pressure anticyclonic influences are very much in control of the weather pattern. So it tends to be a dry month at the best of times. I think that is the sort of hints from that chart. Again, there could be some sort of trough attacking the south at times, so maybe southern parts actually wetter than northern and western parts on that setup. Quite a significant change as we go through into October. What the model is seeing in October is a deep trough of low pressure developing in the Atlantic as this ridge starts to be pushed away from the east. This could be a transitional period, I think. The jet stream is starting to come back into the country rather like that, and again see the high pressure over here gradually being forced back. What I suspect is going on there is that we perhaps at the start of the month we're keeping a lot of anticyclonic anticyclonic influences from September, but very gradually through the month it's been eroded, it's been broken by this really deep trough in the middle part of the Atlantic, and overall that could be quite an unsettled month coming up for October. Then moving through to November, this shows big changes for November. We have a very deep trough of low pressure in across most of northwestern Europe. Look at that, really deep trough. And the jet stream is coming right through the country as well, like that. And again, over here, like that. Jet stream blasting away. So that could be a really wet month for November. I think that's a very unsettled looking signal for November. West is really coming back, turning very wet, perhaps stormy at times. That's quite a deep area of low pressure as an anomaly sitting to the north and the west of the country. That could be a pretty stormy month and potentially very wet as well. Probably not all that cold because the air is driving in off the Atlantic. Now, should we go through to the winter months? What do you think? Would you like to go through to the winter months and have a very quick sneak peek at what the CANSIPS is showing for winter? This will be the very first model that we've looked at for the winter of 2015-2016. Should we do it? What do you think? Shall we do it? Okay, let's do it. And we go through to December. And look at this. Again, big changes have taken place. We've still got the trough centred over the top of the country. A deep area of low pressure there is in through the UK. But what you're going to notice, I'm sure, if you know what to look for with these sort of charts, is all of this red that's going on up here. Northern blocking getting going across Greenland. That tends to be a pretty good sign for cold weather because it starts to force the jet stream southwards rather like that, and then the cold air begins to bleed out from the Arctic like that around the northern blocking. That in its own terms is probably not a cold chart for December because we're still under that trough of low pressure, so probably still relatively mild with the air of the Atlantic, but certainly all of this blocking up to the north will be very, very, very interesting. As we move through into, let's go through into January, and we're going to see what the model is showing for January, and here it is. The above average heights for high pressure remains there to the north of the country, so again, hints of lots of blocking for January 2016 through Greenland and through Iceland, and the troughs of low pressure are being forced further south into the Atlantic now, so the jet stream is going to the south of the country. This blocking is turning the winds potentially into the east and to the northeast. That could be a very cold month for January, a wintry month with the chance of really cold temperatures and maybe some heavy snowfalls as well. Let's not go too over top with that. That is a very, very block looking chart for January with all of this red sitting to the north of the country. And then finally we're going to have a look at February. This is 7 months away, but this is what the CANSIPS is showing for February, and it's a very similar scenario again. Lots of blocking, northern blocking up to the north of the country, all those red colours. The low pressure is all going to the south. The jet stream has gone to the south of the country as well, and the flow, cold air coming out of the east and the north and the northeast. And where's the Azores High? That's in a weakened state, and it's further south than you would expect as well. So I think overall the CANSIPS is definitely seeing a pretty cold winter there in terms of those sea level pressure anomalies. Remember, this is the very, very first model we've looked at gazmovies.com for the winter of 2015-2016. It's a huge time away, so this really does need a big help, and I probably shouldn't be doing this. I may get into trouble from somebody later, but I thought as we got a free day, why not sort of throw a few winter charts in just this once. So these are how the temperature anomalies stack up for the next few months. For August, of course, we're coming out with a milder than average month. Not a desperately hot month, but certainly warmer than average with that high pressure ridging in from the Atlantic. Very pleasant month coming up there. The anomaly is somewhere around a degree above average, so that would be a nice end to what has been a pretty good summer so far. Go through to September, that maintains that warmer than average seal as well. We keep those yellow colours through the country, so yeah, nice month coming up for September. I think I have a look at precipitation in a moment, but I would expect a pretty warm, dry month for September. For October, the above average temperatures continue for October, maybe hinting at nearer normal though. The Atlantic's beginning to come back in October, and westerlies in October tend not to be all that warm, really. So round average sort of temperatures. Here's your temperature scale just here, and yeah, I think the temperatures are coming out a little bit above average maybe, but generally near normal for October. Then for November, hints that it turns a little bit cooler in November. The anomaly is very close to average, but I think, I'm not sure you can make it out, but there is a little bit of blue there appearing across England and Wales. And, excuse me, if we go over here to central parts of Europe as well, quite a cold looking scene, excuse me, again, in November. I'm just going to have to stop and have a drink of water. Very sorry about that. I'm suffering from hay fever at the moment quite badly, so got a bit of a cough. So for November, we are hinting at a cooler than average month there. It does turn a little bit cooler in November. For December, quite interesting actually. I would expect this to be the other way around actually. November to be milder and November to be a bit cooler, but no, what it's actually going for in November is a slightly in December, sorry, is a slightly warmer than average month. Notice all this pink here in the northern latitudes. That is indicative of all of that northern blocking that's beginning to set up. But for December, it isn't seeing a cold month. It's not seeing the blocking in a position really to produce colder than average conditions in December. But certainly the pink colours there do hint at that northern blocking setting up over the northern latitudes. And as we go through to January, which was definitively a cold pattern, we said, and we do go colder than average in January. This is 6 months away, it's a long way off, but that is what the CANSIPS is showing on this particular update. Look how cold it is as well across much of the United States. Cold winter coming up for them. The anomaly is around a degree to a degree and a half or something like that below average, so not a desperately cold month, but certainly a cold and average January being seen by the Canadian model. And then for February it goes really, really cold. Look at that, deep blue colours in across the country. That's probably going into the freezer. Most of Europe going into the freezer as well. That's taking an anomaly, temperature anomalies down to around 4 to 6 degrees, cooler than average, 3 to 6 degrees, something like that for most parts of Central, Northern and Western Europe. So a really cold February being seen there by the Canadian model. We would know it if that came up, but it's 7 months away, so really just for fun. In terms of the rainfall anomalies, finally, they are stacking up like this, a little bit wetter than average in the north. It's a little bit drier than average in the south for August. Again, you'd expect that. That's very much in line with what you expect from the pattern, with low pressure up here and high pressure around here and ridging through there. You would expect it to be drier in the south and west and wetter in the north. September showing below average rainfall anomalies quite widely across the country in most yellow colours, which is anomalies around 2% of average. So yeah, really high pressure anticyclonic month being indicated for September. High pressure through the country, warm, dry, very classic late summer September conditions. I just hope it won't be as dry and quiet as it was last year, because I really did, by the end of the month, I really was struggling for things to talk about in September 2014 in my daily. So I hope it's not going to be quite as dry and as quiet as that. As we go through into October, this is transitional, remember. We said that the low pressure is coming back, and we find the rainfall anomalies beginning to go, well, they're going to average for us, they're going wetter than average out to the west of the country. So the jet stream really coming back through October, may start off with a lot of dry, settled and warm weather, and then turn increasingly wet and windy through the course of the month, something like that. For November, that trough is in across the country, so a wetter than average November being seen there through the British Isles, low pressure centred right over the country. This probably explains why it's a little bit cooler than average in November, because it is going for a bit of ridging to the south of Greenland, which of course would allow cooler air to come into the trough from the north and the northeast. So potentially quite cold and wet for November. That could be an interesting one, and maybe providing a little bit of wintry weather, perhaps for the start of the winter season. We go through into December, and this is showing again quite a bit of ridging out to the west of the country here, to the south of Greenland. A lot of high pressure there. The trough, if anything, is being moved southwards, so you will think that would probably be a colder than average month. But as we saw on the temperature on it is going for a warmer than average month, and from the pressure distribution, I can't really explain why that should be, but I'm not sure it quite stacks up, but nevertheless that's what it's showing for December anyway. And then as we get through into January, of course we're going into that definitively cold pattern then in January, so it's turning drier than average, as it always will do in a cold winter pattern. It will tend to be very dry, with high pressure all up here and hints of it through to Scandinavia as well, and the trough, low pressure, is going well to the south of the country, along with the jet stream that's going south also, which allows this cold easterly northeast wind to come in. And then finally for February, and it's the same story with all of this blocking up to the north of the country. The trough is down to the south, and the cold air is coming around, but blocking, bleeding out of the Arctic from the north and the northeast. A colder than average winter, but also a drier than average winter being seen by CANSIPS. So that's it for now. Hope you enjoyed the video. It's very experimental, this. I have no experience of the Canadian long-range model. The short-range model is not rated all that highly by a lot of people, I have to say. I don't think it's too bad myself, but a lot of people don't like the shorter-range Canadian model. So quite what to make of the long-range CANSIPS model, I don't know. We're going to have to wait and observe it, really, over the next few months. If it's got any of this right, say if it's got that bitterly cold February right, then it'll be hats off to it, won't it? But just have to wait and see. But anyway, I hope you found the video interesting. I was stuck with something to do today. Stuck with something to do, so I thought we'd go with this as a bit of fun. And I hope you enjoyed it. And that's it for now. Thanks for watching.